Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Stephanie Spies. I work for Wellness and Health Promotion Services. I'm also part of the LEP program. And today we have Megan Case, who also works for Wellness and Health Promotion Services. We're so thankful to have her here today. Today we are going to share with you a delicious recipe from our Fresh You program. For those of you that don't know, our Fresh You program is a farm to table approach where we teach students how to cook healthy, delicious meals on a student budget. And if anybody is like me, that could pertain to me as well. And so we want to share with you today something that is healthy, easy to make, that you can meal prep. So we're going to share that video, and then we're going to spend a little bit of time afterwards. If you have any questions that we can answer for you related to nutrition or cooking, meal prep, whatever is on your mind, we would be happy to answer those questions for you. But first, I'm going to share Megan's bio so you can get to know a little bit about who she is and why we're qualified to answer your questions today. So Megan Case is a nutrition and outreach coordinator at Wellness and Health Promotion Services. She has her Bachelor's of Science degree from the University of Georgia in Family and Consumer Sciences, specializing in dietetics and consumer foods. She has promoted healthy nutrition behaviors to the UCF community for the past 6 years, and we are so happy to have her here today. She also has her wellness coaching certificate, as well as a certificate in nutrition for sports dietetics. So get all of your questions ready. We're going to show you our recipe video first, and then if you could put your questions in the Q&A box, we would be happy to answer those as soon as the video is done. So I'm going to share that.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Megan Case. I'm the nutrition coordinator at Wellness and Health Promotion Services in the Fresh You program. Today we're going to be making a healthier pasta sauce. And so right here on the table are all the ingredients that you're going to need to make this delicious dish. So it is a simpler way, so you don't have tomatoes cooking all day long. Instead, we're going to add some healthier veggies to an already jarred sauce. So you're going to start with a jarred sauce. We choose this brand only because it has tomatoes and the spices in it already. You can choose any brand you'd like. We do recommend about 45 ounces, which is about double the size of your normal jar that you would pick at the store. The next thing we're going to have is some ground turkey or ground beef, ground chicken, whatever you prefer, about a pound. If you live a vegetarian or a vegan lifestyle, cooked lentils is a really great option to replace it with, or it's delicious without any meat or lentils. You can do both. We also are going to have 1 onion, 1 bell pepper diced. We're also going to have some sliced mushrooms, a little bit of garlic, and then of course we want our pasta. All right, so of course we're gonna start with making our pasta. What we wanna do is get a pot of water, plenty of water, put it on the stove and let it boil. We wanna make sure it's boiling before we add the pasta, the dried pasta, to the pot so that it doesn't leak too much starch and get sticky. So we're going to cook that according to package instructions. It really just depends on the type of pasta that you purchase. So if you're looking for other options besides serving this over pasta, of course you have whole grain options. You can serve this pasta sauce over vegetables or zoodles or something of that nature. So it doesn't have to be served over pasta if you don't want it to. What we're going to do now is move into making our pasta sauce. All right. So in the interest of time, we went ahead and started to brown our ground turkey. As I said before, you could use ground chicken, ground beef, half and half, or cooked lentils. If you're adding cooked lentils, you're going to wait until we add the actual sauce into the pot to add your cooked lentils, because it won't take too long for the lentils to reheat to incorporate into the mixture. So while that browns or continues to brown, we're going to go ahead and prep some of our vegetables. As I said, in the interest of time, I've already prepped some of these things, so you don't have to watch me chop them all. But I do want to talk to you about some knife skills and how we should use some kitchen safety. So of course at home we don't always have gloves. However, here, because we're going to be serving this to you all, I want to make sure that we're using proper kitchen safety. So When we are chopping our vegetables, we're going to use a chef's knife. If you have one, this is what a chef's knife looks like. When we're holding our knife, we want to take our thumb and our pointer finger and put it over the top of the blade, not the bottom, and then wrap the rest of your fingers around the handle of the knife. This gives us a nice firm grip on the knife, and it's less likely to slide away from us and cut ourselves. The other thing we want to make sure we're doing is using a really sharp knife. Really sharp knives actually keep us from cutting ourselves as opposed to dull ones. So what we don't want you to do is hold your knife this way. Of course, if you're cutting a steak with a steak knife, that's perfectly appropriate. It helps you guide, but this is a much larger knife, so we want to hold our knife this way or this way, but not this way, okay? So what I have here is an onion, and what we like to do with our onions is cut through the root. So when we cut through the root, it keeps all the little onion shells together, and that way they don't kind of get away from us on our cutting board. And then I'm going to take off this first layer here, mostly because in the grocery store, people check this onion to see if they wanted to buy it, and we want to make sure that we have a nice clean surface to work with. So we're going to take our knife and we're going to make small slices. And of course we're using our guide hand, which is the hand not holding our knife, to hold our vegetable in place, okay? So once we've done that, we want to just take a couple of the slices and take our guide hand and make a C. And we're going to feed our vegetable to our knife. It's important to keep your knife on the cutting board when you're cutting small vegetables. This keeps us from cutting ourselves. So I'm going to feed my vegetable through my knife. So my knife should remain stationary as I'm pushing the vegetable through the knife. This is hard to do at first, and it takes a bit of practice. And the reason why we hold a C, so if we're chopping along and somebody distracts us or we're showing off our skills and we hit our knuckle, we're not going to cut off our knuckle, but if we were holding the vegetable this way, we would accidentally get the tips of our fingers. So that's why we like to hold our vegetable in a C, so that if we do hit our knuckle, we don't end up cutting ourselves. So it's all about being safe in the kitchen with our knives. So we're going to go ahead and add our onion to our ground turkey. And the onion that I chopped here. We're also going to go ahead and add our sliced mushrooms, which have been rinsed. I'm going to add those and give that a quick stir. So what we want is for our veggies to be soft so that we don't get a crunch when we bite into our sauce. All right, so it's going to take just a little bit of time. So we know this is done when the onions are translucent and our mushrooms, you can almost not tell that you're biting into them, right? Really, really soft. And then the other thing we're going to add is about 1 bell pepper. All right, so I went ahead and diced that so y'all don't have to watch me cut anymore. And if you don't like bell peppers, people have very strong opinions about bell peppers typically. And if you don't like them, just give it a try, okay? Make one without, maybe one with, and give it a try. What we're looking for is the flavor that the bell peppers give off once they're cooked, not necessarily, you don't want to have to bite into it and taste it. So just try it. You'll find that most people like it with the bell pepper, so just try it. The last thing we're going to do is add about 2 cloves of garlic. So most people purchase garlic already minced at the store, and it's very shelf stable in the refrigerator. But just in case you don't have that option, or you come to the Freshly Market and we have garlic here for you, or the Knights Helping Knights pantry, let's talk about how we get the skin off. So what I've done is I've chopped off just the root end of it, the thing that holds the garlic together. And I'm going to take my knife, and this is very important, I'm going to angle the blade away from me and stick it on top of my garlic. And then I'm going to take out all of my stress and frustration right here. So now my blade is angled down, so I'm not going to cut myself, and I'm just going to hit it until that shell comes off really nicely. All right? So be super careful, but don't be afraid to take out some of your stress. And then what we're going to do is we're going to mince this garlic. And as you can see, my guide hand is holding the top of my knife, and we're just going to rock back and forth. We're going to chase it across the cutting board a little. So mincing is a super fancy word for just diced small. but it makes us sound super fancy, so we're gonna use it. So we're gonna mince this garlic and we're gonna add it to our pot. Now, we try really hard not to add garlic to a pan all alone with olive oil because garlic is a really delicate herb or vegetable, and so what we don't want to do is kill it. So it gets really bitter if we overcook it. So we always try to add it kind of towards the end or with another vegetable, so with an onion or something like that. All right, so we're gonna add that in there. I've got a little bit of garlic left here. And really, this recipe calls for 2 cloves of garlic, but if you love garlic, you could add 3. It's really up to you. So I'm gonna go ahead and stir this up and see how we do. And we're gonna let it cook just a little bit longer because our mushrooms aren't there yet. So when our mushrooms start to release their water, we know that we're ready to add our sauce. And now we wait. Okay, so now that our vegetables are all cooked and our meat is browned, it's time for us to go ahead and add our jarred sauce. So we're gonna add the whole thing and give it a nice stir. Make sure it's well incorporated. And then we're gonna add a lid for about 10 minutes or so just to let the sauce heat up. Now, of course, the longer that you allow this sauce to cook, the yummier it's going to taste, right on low. But it will be ready in about 10 minutes once we put the lid on. Okay, so once we've added the sauce and put the lid on for about 10 minutes, we're gonna let it simmer and heat up really nicely. It can stay on the stove for longer than that. The longer it cooks, the better it tastes, of course, on low, and then it's ready to enjoy. Okay, now that we've given our sauce some time to heat through and cook, we're gonna go ahead and add it to our pasta here, our pre-made pasta. We're just gonna throw it on top. Maybe a little Parmesan or Pecorino Romano cheese. Of course, here at the Fresh You program, we want you to choose some vegetables to pair it with, and you're ready to eat.
Thank you so much, Megan, for providing that video. I'm ready to eat. I don't know about you all, but that looked delicious. So if you have any questions that you want to ask us, please feel free to put them in the Q&A box. We'd be happy to answer them for you. While we're waiting for some of those to come in, I wanted to give you just some information about Fresh You and what Fresh You is in the market. So Fresh You is our nutrition and cooking program, as well as our gardens on campus. So we do have a question, where is the market? The market is actually located in the Recreation and Wellness Center. Inside our office, we're on the first floor across from Chick-fil-A, the new Chick-fil-A. And this is a place where students can get some snacks and freshly made snacks. So we actually feature that recipe in our market as well. So if you have students that are interested and want to come check out what we have to offer, our times are located on our website, which I will put in there as well. And then we also have another question of where can you get the recipe? So all of our recipes are on our website, the Wellness and Health Promotion Services website, which I will also put in the chat as well. So we have about, Megan, I think 100 recipes, right? That are all student friendly, but also.
Yeah, about 165 are up there now. And they're all for different levels of, from beginner to expert cooking levels. We try to provide lots of different options, dietary options and things like that for students to choose from.
So I think that's a good point as well. Most of our recipes can be made vegetarian or vegan, dairy-free, gluten-free. And then we also have a wellness coaching program that we partner along with it. So if students are having some new dietary restrictions, or maybe they want to become vegetarian or vegan and they're not sure how, they can meet with our certified wellness coaches for free in order to do that. So Megan, our next question is, I've also added grated carrots, which adds some neutral sweetness. Any suggestions on reducing the sugar further?
Well, in our recipe, we didn't add a lot of sugar, but carrots are a really great option to add to your sauce. Some people find that to be frustrating. They don't want to add shredded carrots. So what we've done in the past is added a whole carrot, cooked it for a period of time with the whole carrot in, and then removed the carrot just to get some of that natural sweetness from the carrot. So that is an option as well. I know my family's recipe sauce recipe calls for like a cup of sugar. And so adding a carrot is a really great option as opposed to adding that sugar. And if shredded carrots don't bother you, most of the time you can't even tell they're in the sauce. That's a really great way to add it and keep that vegetable, that extra serving of vegetable in there.
Thank you. So our next question is, there is food insecurity on campus. Not all students can afford to buy healthy food. How do you work with this student population?
Well, that's a really great question because the market is meant as free for everyone. And so someone doesn't have to ask for or tell us that they're in need in order to receive the free food. And so we really like that because it removes that barrier of them to have to ask for help. And so that's how we work with students. If a student comes to us and talks about their food insecurity, then of course we have resources like student cares and the pantry that we refer them to, and then work with them within our market as well.
So we do work. That is a great question. And we do work with our students, and we have great partnerships with Student Care Services and the Knights Helping Knights Pantry. We also have SNAP coaching in our office as well. So that Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. Miss Christine, if you haven't met her, she does all of our couponing classes as well as is our SNAP advisor. So she is able to walk students through that process of how to apply for SNAP, or sometimes they've been denied. And so she can help them through how to get either reapply or get that information they need. And then through our coupon classes as well, students are able to save so much money by learning how to coupon and save money that way.
It's really, in coaching, we also work with cooking on a budget. So the raise in food prices recently has been difficult for our coaches to navigate, but it's something we work through and work with students on.
So our next question is, any suggestions for a jar sauce that has no sugar added or less sugar than your typical jarred sauce?
So Stephanie and I don't work for any of these companies before we tell you the brands that we like. But I really like Rouse. Is that how you pronounce it, Stephanie? Rouse Marinara. That's a really good one. There's no added sugar in that, is there, Stephanie?
I don't think so. There's only like 5 ingredients in that one, and that's honestly my favorite sauce.
Yeah. Definitely.
It is a little expensive, but you can get it at Sam's and Costco as well for cheaper.
That's probably our favorite one outside of the ragu that we use with the students because it is more cost effective.
Yeah,
for sure.
We definitely don't use that with our students, and that's why we use something like, there is actually a really good sauce at Aldi as well. So I think it's the Aldi brand of marinara sauce, I think is what it's called, if I'm correct, Megan, has a no sugar added sauce that tastes really good too. And I think that when we add some of these vegetables into it, that also gives it more flavor that sometimes people feel like is missing from a jarred sauce. So, putting that carrot in or things like that, and in most of the vegetables and things that we use in our recipes is available either in our market or the Knights Helping Knights Pantry. Like I said, we partner with them to make sure that some of these things are available in the market. And then we also, during a coaching process or one of our presentations, tell students how to save money by buying frozen fruits and vegetables. So there's no waste and it costs less. So we have, Maureen said that Rao's is on sale at Publix right now. So that's how you can get it a little cheaper. So our next question is there literature or flyers that we can share with students? Yes, there is. And if you could just put in the chat box what office you're from, we'd be happy to send it over to you, but it's also on our website as well. So again, I am talking, so I forgot to put that in the chat. But on our website, all of our information about all of our different programs is on there. All righty. So our next question is, Megan, tell us a little bit about why we're adding some vegetables to jarred sauce, something that maybe people typically take right out of the jar. Why are we adding that?
Sure. Well, from the student perspective, we know that our students on average eat about 0 to 1 fruit or vegetable a day. And so we are always looking for ways to help them incorporate vegetables into their diet in a way that they will enjoy it, right? And so that's why we, of course, add it. But for the general population, we can always find new and creative ways to add vegetables to things. Does that answer your question, Stephanie?
I think so.
Okay.
Let's see, what other questions do we have? I'm just checking all the different places that they could be. Alrighty, so our next question is, do you teach students how to prepare international traditional foods?
We do. We have in the past had guest chefs in our kitchen who have helped us prepare these things. When we do recipe development, which we typically do at the end of every spring semester, so that's coming up for us. Stephanie will be feeding the offices near us. We always invite students from different backgrounds to show us a thing or two in the kitchen, which they truly enjoy. Some students who work for us. And also we're always open to someone sending us a recipe to feature. We often name them after you, so just be prepared. If you send something, we'll probably name it after you. And of course, as long as you're willing to allow us to try to make it a bit healthier or find a vegetable to add to it, because that is, of course, the purpose of the program. So yeah, send us your recipes. Come join us in our kitchen. We would love that. So you will find on our website several different recipes that students have helped us prepare and develop.
So our next question is, what are good sources of protein for vegetarians? I know chickpeas and tofu, but I feel like there has to be other choices.
There are, and so, well, of course, all legumes are a really great source of protein and fiber. So that's any kind of beans, that's soy, and lentils are considered a legume. So those are really great options. There is protein in your fruits and vegetables. They just aren't a complete protein. So legumes are not a complete protein. The only legume that is a complete protein is soy, right? Also, quinoa is considered a complete protein, which is classified as a grain, but it's really a seed. So those are two non-meat complete proteins that you can, or non-animal complete proteins that you can add to your diet. And really, once you kind of get the hang of making sure you're adding enough protein, you can kind of go on from there and add different things to your diet. So we really recommend using something like a fitness tracker or a food tracker to kind of make sure you're hitting that protein mark. So MyFitnessPal, a lot of students use that to make sure they're hitting that mark, especially if they are vegetarian. And then once they realize they can hit it and they do it consistently, they really don't need that anymore. They're used to doing it and have made it a part of their lives. But if you have any specific questions about the kinds of proteins you're taking in and whether or not you feel like it's enough, you can reach out to me individually if you'd like, for sure.
All righty, so we have time for one more question, and it's from James Megan. Have you all ever thought of doing an Iron Chef type program with incorporating vegetables using chefs on campus?
We would love that.
I know, I was thinking that.
No,
Yes,
actually, we have talked about a cooking competition and what that would look like. And we've done a couple small versions of that with students, like the s'mores cooking competition with the Rec and Wellness Center's Outdoor Adventure program. We've done a couple virtual things, but I think a cook-off is in our future. I'm not sure what we would call it, but definitely a great option. I appreciate you throwing that out there.
And Megan, if you could answer this question quickly, is what are considered good fats?
Okay, so we look for, and I feel like fat gets a bad rap. Fat has always gotten a bad rap. Fat is one of your macronutrients. It is important. And so we are looking for unsaturated fats in your diet, things like olive oil, using that instead of a purchased salad dressing. So like an olive oil with a lemon type of vinaigrette type of thing you can do. Avocados are great sources of unsaturated fat. So those are the kinds of things that we would like you to look for when you're looking to add fat to your diet. And just, I feel like fat gets a bad rap. So if you leave with anything today, it's add carrots to your sauce from our first question, and fats get a bad rap.
They do, and they're actually necessary for brain health too. So we definitely need those healthy fats in our diet. So I want to thank Megan so much for her time and for being here and putting so much love into the video and cooking for all of the students on campus all the time. And then also the student union as well for producing the video and helping us through that. So thank you again for that. We are going to post this video on our YouTube page, which I'm going to put in the chat right now, which our YouTube page is at Healthy Night. This video, as well as other cooking videos, are on there as well. So please check us out. Feel free to email Megan or myself, or stop by and chat with us about anything cooking, coaching related, or nutrition. We are happy to help you along with that, and then also serve your students as well. So thank you again so much for your time. Please join us for our next session, which is in 2 minutes. And you can check out the web courses for that to see what sessions are going to be offered. So again, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to seeing you in our next sessions.